with me, and you'll see that I live in a world that don't give a fuck, bitch.
All this nonsense, homelessness, and all this other garbage y'all talk about, police violence and all this stuff, don't nobody care about that. Don't nobody real care about that. We care about our reparations. And we have to put white people on notice that we want our reparations. That our foreparents and us, we didn't work for free and underpaid and all this nonsense. And the white folks get away with it. And they talk about the great city they're building. No, we want our reparations. $3 million per person. $3 million per person right here in this city. That's the only thing black people got to care about. All this other little nonsense y'all talk about, we do not care about.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Fat Man Buddha, and we are here again talking about reparations and segregation and what that means for us as a people and as a nation. And one thing I want to start off with is the US dollar is $31 trillion in debt. $31 trillion in debt. And they are still being held responsible by the World Court to give us our reparations. What I want people to understand is you should not accept a failing currency without first considering taking back your own land. We have the guns. We have the guns, we have the numbers. We have the war within us to defend ourselves. So I would rather you take back the land than you take back the monetary funds. Because if the dollar is failing worldwide, then that means that the dollar will only be accepted within the Americas and the allied territories of the Americas. And the allied territories of the Americas is getting smaller and smaller.
For the people who work numbers, I am giving you free advice that those of you who are holding dollars, you surely might go into losses. You better do what you must do, because this market is going to be different in a couple of weeks.
You understand? With the coming up of BRICS, which is a new form of currency from the East, China, Russia, South Africa, all of East Africa, India, pretty soon all of Asia, South America, pretty soon Mexico is going to join, and pretty soon I feel like the Caribbeans are going to join if they get the opportunity. Everyone is joining up for this currency, and the only people who are going to still use this currency are the Allied forces. And the Allied forces do not like you. They do not like you at all. Do not listen to people when they say, oh, he's just trying to keep up a racist narrative. I'm not keeping up a racist narrative. You can look around right now. If you would just stop denying the truth, stop trying to make yourself delusional and disattached from the reality of what's right there in front of you.
Но на Украине нет фашистов. Каролина, подойди сюда. Городок галереи.
You can see that these people do not like you. Ukraine is nothing but Nazis. Israel is nothing but Nazis. Switzerland is nothing but Nazis. Germany, Nazis. The American government is nothing but Nazis. Uh, these people do not like you. Even Britain, France, and London is preparing to join BRICS because everyone is tired of this racist narrative. China just got done announcing that they disavow the state of Israel and that they support the independent state of Palestine.
China says enough of the fighting. They want peace between Israel and Palestine, and it is willing to help foster that peace themselves. That's right, China is saying that the only way that there can actually be peace in Palestine is if Palestine is made its own separate state and that they restore the 1967 borders. Now, this is pretty significant for several reasons. One being that there was no caveat that was included with the statement made by Xi Jinping. Usually, when a superpower makes a statement like this, it's as long as Israel's okay with it. But this particular time, it seemed that Xi was determined to use China's super-powered position in the world to ensure that Palestine is given the equal representation that Israel has. But of course, I think we all know the real question is, will Israel actually play ball with China, or will they just literally use all of their money to influence all their politics like they do in the US?
And now Israel is working overtime to kill the Palestinians and remove them from their homes. Forcibly, they are literally setting up bombs to remove these people from their homes.
Western media be like,
Okay, what's going on in the world today?
This one's a good one. There's a Palestinian journalist that was sniped by an Israeli soldier while on the job. She was wearing a
Let's talk about gas prices. They're on the rise right now. So,
Israelis detained 5 young kids. A 14-year-old Palestinian was shot dead. An Israeli soldier sexually assaulting Palestinians.
yeah, but they're always fighting though. Like, they're always fighting.
Israelis are demolishing more Palestinian houses, making them homeless.
An Israeli attacked a 4-year-old kid. It's a conflict on both ends. You really don't know what's going on in detail. Palestinian mom saying goodbye to her son that was shot dead. Palestinian mom losing her son that died because of neglect in Israeli jail. More Palestinian houses are being demolished. You saw that Palestinian? He was throwing rocks. You saw that? Throwing rocks, that terrorist.
I mean, that's a bulldozer with an army
terrorist. They shot a Palestinian while smoking, doing nothing. Israel killed a 6-year-old child. Okay, so you can report it, just keep it vague, like shot dead or something. Israel killed 9 Palestinian civilians today.
The army invaded Palestinian territory with tanks and rockets.
Israel has the right to defend themselves though. An Israeli soldier shoots another Palestinian, and another Palestinian, and another one, and another Palestinian, and another one, and another one, and another one. About 30 Palestinians are dead this month alone. Wait, 9 Israelis died? Report this. We gotta report this right now. My hand's shaking. We strongly condemn the heinous terrorist attack done by the Palestinians. Why would this happen to civilized, peaceful people? I just don't get it.
With that being said, the World Court is putting pressure on the United States of Nazis that has taken over our land to give us reparations. And what they wanted to do was give us monetary funds in place of our land. So to counteract that, the new form of currency was created to devalue their currency. If we do not propagate their currency, then it is worthless. It's already worthless, but it has to be worthless to us. You can't eat paper. Your children can't eat or drink paper. You need land. You need fruit. You need vegetables. You need to be able to drink clean water. That's why, if you notice what's been going on, isn't it funny how the more the value of the dollar drops, the more pressure that they get from the World Court to give us reparations, the more they destroy the land which they are supposed to give us.
Substance found by a Southwest Arkansas man be part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention. Well, tonight, KSLA News 12 investigation reporter Jeff Farrell shows us the results of testing we had done about what's in our skies.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
Bill Nichols snapped several photos of the strange clouds from his home in Stamps, Arkansas. They begin as normal contrails from a jet engine, but do not fade away like a normal contrail. Soon after, he saw particles in the air.
You know, because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium, 6.8 parts per million, more than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA. Armed with these lab results about the high levels of barium found in our sample, we decided to contact the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. They told us that yes, these levels are very unusual, but at the same time they added the caveat that proving the source is a whole nother matter. Barium is a hallmark of other chemtrail testing, which even attracted attention from a Los Angeles TV station. There's already no shortage of unclassified.
And no one's paid attention to that. No one finds it suspicious that the more they release these purge laws, as they're called, the more that they tell the truth about what's going on. And no one's going to jail. You understand? When Pizzagate hit, no one went to jail. When Epstein got hit, no one went to jail but Epstein. And then they released him because, like I said, we still never seen the body. Don't take the currency, take the land. Because I guarantee you, if you say you don't want the currency, you want the land, they're going to try to come up with every excuse. Oh, you don't want this land, it's poison. You don't want this land, it's you can't grow food here. They are coming up with every excuse. They are creating new excuses as to why they can't give us proper reparations. You understand? And they're creating laws. They have reenacted the Jim Crow law in Mississippi. They have reenacted the lynching law in Tennessee. They have reenacted they're about to reenact the hunting license so they can hunt our people down in Florida, which is why they're saying you don't need a permit for a gun. You understand? They're trying to criminalize us and decriminalize them at the same time. Do not give up your guns. They're going to say, if you want reparations, you have to give up your guns. Don't do it. Do not give up your guns. If worse comes to worse, take the land. I mean, if worse comes to worse and they refuse to give you reparations without you first giving up your guns, then wait for China to get here. And then when China invades, help them. You understand? Because will you be trading one enemy for another? Yes. But at least the Chinese are more civilized. And don't be fooled by the propaganda that these people are putting up saying that they're better than the Chinese. How? They are literally telling you that you've been eating fake food, you've been drinking poison water. They let all of Detroit rot from the inside out. They let all of LA, California rot from the inside out. They let all of Washington and Virginia rot from the inside out. You understand? They continue to kill you in mass numbers. They continue to try and destroy your mind, destroy your values, destroy uh, your family as a whole. How are they any better than the Chinese? If anything, the Chinese just want to know what the hell are you doing. But at least the Chinese won't take credit from you. You understand? Everyone's tired of playing this game called hide the truth. Everyone's tired of playing this racist game of let's hide the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is these homunculus chimeras, these Nazis, they don't own anything. They stole everything. You understand? They have stolen every single thing you can think of. They've stolen your name, they've stolen your spirituality, they've stolen your land, and now they're trying to steal your family from you. You understand? You think back to when they forced Angela Davis to stand side by side with that Nazi Margaret, who came up with the idea of abortion. They put abortion clinics all over our neighborhoods. And what they found out was we didn't use them as much as their own kind used them. They were trying to exterminate us, and then they turned around and realized that they were exterminating themselves. That's why they passed this abortion law where you can't get an abortion because their numbers are dwindling too hard. They realize that now, even though they're trying to breed with us, the numbers aren't going anywhere. The numbers have stopped going up. It's been happening worldwide. It's been happening in Europe. It's been happening in Israel. It's been happening in Germany, Ukraine. It's been happening worldwide, wherever they are. Even when they breed with us now, they are still having a hard time uh, consummating and having children with us. The entire world is tired of them. Even animals are starting to attack them now. Have you seen what's been going on in the ocean? The whales are starting to attack fishermen boats and starting to flip them over and destroy their engines. The entire world is getting tired of their existence because they will not stop. But one man cannot be an army to destroy an entire nation. It will take a nation to destroy a nation. And that is one of the core things that they have destroyed when it comes to us. They have destroyed our nation, but they still haven't gotten to the core of our nation, which is amazing. I mean, here we are, and everything that they've done is going in reverse for us. They want to say, oh, black on black crime. Black on black crime has been dropping steadily. It has been dropping. And they don't want you to know anything about that. They want to promote it as if it's still a major issue, and it's not anymore. People are getting tired of killing their own kind. But why? Because there's less of us out here. So what do they do now? Now they introduce the whole cult, which has become the LGBT, whatever the hell letters they've added now. It's the cult. It's a sexual cult to cultivate our children and destroy them, which is why it is time to pull them out of school. You understand? They're going to allow sexual predators and pedophiles to teach your children. You understand how We need segregation. Across the board, we need segregation. But they're going to tell you that if you ask for segregation, it's racist. It's not racist if you ask for segregation. It's being a preserve. You're preserving yourself. Because what have you benefited from integration? Think about that. What have you truly benefited from integration? Everything you have created, they've hidden away. They don't even let you know that you invented it. How many people know that we're the ones who invented the internet? How many people know that we're the ones who invented computers, TVs, shoes, clothes, houses, lights, air conditioning, heating systems, the car engine itself? The car engine itself, we invented. Still, I ask you, what have you benefited from integration? No one can answer that question. And only fools are going to sit here and say, oh, well, they introduced us to God. That makes no sense. When has God ever needed to be introduced through blood? When has anyone ever been introduced to God through blood? You can't. That's not how it works. You can't sit here and try to come up with an excuse simply because you're afraid to face the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is, we have gained nothing from integration and we have lost everything. You understand? Reparations and segregation. Because their whole society is crumbling right there in front of you. Their president is not even unreal. Joe Biden, like I told you before, Joe Biden died 7 or 10 years ago. That's a person in a mask. That whole United States Congress is almost 100 years old. Think about that. The entire U.S. Congress is almost 100 years old. Their president is almost 100 years old. No one's died. No one's had a heart attack. No one's had a stroke, a seizure. How is it that these Congress members, who are supposed to be under the most stress in America, have not died? Why have they not been replaced? Well, think about that. Why has there been no new blood entered into the U.S. Congress? The entire Congress is almost 100 years old. And when I say new blood, I mean us. Why haven't we? And first thing the homunculus chimeras are going to say, oh, well, you don't have the education for it. How? We have lawyers. Oh, well, you won't stay out of the trouble. How? Not all of us come from a broken household in the projects. They try to say we don't have the education, that's a lie. They try to say we don't have the stability, that's a lie. They try to say that we don't have the support amongst ourselves, that's a lie. They want to keep it filled with Nazis. Nazis and house niggas. Those are the only ones that are allowed to be in the U.S. Congress. Anyone else that gets there through circumstance is either killed or put under so much stress that they have heart attacks and strokes and replaced. You understand how in the fuck is the Congress 100 years old and you wonder why nothing has changed? How old is Mitch McConnell? Mitch McConnell is what, 76 now? 80? How is he still the representative of the Republicans? How old is his counterpart, Pelosi? 80, 90 years old? and she's still the head of the Democratic House. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. We need complete segregation. And what is one of the things that comes with segregation? We have the right to our own governance. We have the right to our own health care. We have the right to our own schools. We have the right to our own currency and defense system. The right to raise our own army. The right to create our own currency and the right to govern ourselves is a very important thing. That is why they keep on destroying everything that represents a government. The Black Panther Party represented a government. The Rainbow Movement represented a government. Um, the movement in Philadelphia represented a government. Think about that. If Malcolm X represented a government, there are three bodies of government. There is the army, there is the treasury, and then there is the legislation. Those are the three bodies of government that represent the people as a totality. You understand? If Fred Hampton was the legislation, Fred Hampton was the legislation, and the black and Malcolm X was the treasury, and the Black Panther Party was the military. Do you see why it was so important to kill them? Reparations mean that you have your own body of government. Military, currency, and legislation are the main three bodies of government. So, I hope you understand why it's going to be hard to sit here and they pretending that, oh, reparations can't be given because we're broke. They are $31 trillion in debt, and yet they still gave Ukraine almost $300 billion. How? In what world does that make sense? You can't give reparations, but you can give money for war. How? How does that make sense? Reparations must be given with segregation. We must have segregation. We must have segregation. We must have segregation. Because without segregation, we cannot truly claim reparations. You understand? We must have segregation because they have broken every peace treaty that's ever been put in front of them. Every peace treaty that's ever been put in front of them, they have broken. The Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears started when? In 1760. That's when they say the Trail of Tears happened in 1760. And then, but in 1739, that's when the Gullah Wars happened. That was a whole 100-year war from 1739 to 1858. When was the Emancipation Proclamation signed? In 1863. When was forced integration brought into play? In the 1960s. Why is it so important that I bring up integration? Because from 1858, when they said that the war ended, They said that the war ended in 1858. They said that the Trail of Tears ended in 1858. What did we have? What did we have? Think about that. I'm really sitting here thinking to myself that slavery really didn't happen the way they said it happened. Because if the Trail of Tears happened in 1760, but it ended in the 1800s, how it it makes no sense. Why was there still a war going on? Why was the Seminole War 100 years old? And the Seminole Wars, the Gullah Wars happened before the Trail of Tears. That makes, why is everything 100 years apart? 1760, 1860, 1960. Why is everything 100 years apart? I am really starting to feel like it's not happening the way that they said it was happening.
Indigenous black people have been in the Americas for thousands of years before slavery and Christopher Columbus. In Columbus's own diary, his son Ferdinand Columbus confirmed that his father did in fact meet black tribes upon reaching the New World. Explorers like Giovanni Verrazzano, when he got to the Carolinas, he met the Cape Fear Indians, who he said resembled the Ethiopians of Africa. Explorers like Hernando de Soto, when he got to Florida in 1512, he started warring with the Florida Indians, who he described as big, black, and had woolly hair. Also, in the book called Primitive Black Nations of America, Constantine Rafinas points out that the Black Indians met the Spaniards in Louisiana in 1543. We've always been here. We are the indigenous people.
What did they used to do when they conquered one of our villages? They would kill the elders. They would kill the teachers. They would kill the medicine men. They would kill the generals. And they would keep the children. The Sioux War, also known as the War of Little Bighorn, they said lasted from 1876 to 1877. But the Emancipation was signed in 1863. So why was there still war going on? Why? Who are the real Sioux? The real Cherokees, the real natives here. The Trail of Tears never ended. The Trail of Tears never ended. It's still going on to this day. Reparation must be had with segregation. There is no other way. Look at their society crumbling. They sit here and say that, oh, no empire lasts more than 250 years. How? Our empires used to last thousands of years. The Mayan Empire lasted almost 10,000 years. The Cherokee Empire lasted almost 3,000 years. The Mississippian Empire lasted almost 3,000 years. Their empires don't last more than 250 years. Why? Because they steal empires. You cannot maintain an empire that you have stolen. You can't. Everyone sees the answer to the problem except my own people. And if we say the answer to the problem, we're called racist.
So their system is not stopping. And then finally, I want to say that we need one idea. and we're not thinking about a solution to the problem. We're dealing with all these other things, but these are diversions from the solution to the problem. And we have to start to think about a solution to the problem so that these young brothers and sisters who are here now, who are 15, 16, and 17, are not here 25 years later talking about these same problems. Now, how do I know that the white people know that we are going to come up with a solution to the problem? I know it because they have retina scans, they have what they call racial profiling, DNA banks, and they're monitoring our people to try to prevent the one person from coming up with the one idea. And the one idea is how we are going to exterminate white people, because that, in my estimation, is the only conclusion I have come to. We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem. Now, I don't care whether you clap or not, but I'm saying to you that we need to solve this problem because they are going to kill us. And I will leave on that. So we have to just set up our own system and stop playing and get very serious and not be diverted.
Well, I must say the answer to the problem. The answer to the problem is we have to kill them. There's no other way around it. You can't sit here and say that it's wrong to say these things. The Gullah Wars, 1739 to 1858. The Trail of Tears started in 1760, but the Emancipation was signed in 1863, and they forced us to integrate in 1960. Why would you have to force us to integrate with you? Why? Because they didn't want to pay reparations. With us being segregated like we were, they knew that we had every right to reparations. We had our own schools, we had our own restaurants, we had our own railroads, we had our own hospitals, we had our own military, we had our own nation. We didn't have to trade with them. What did they have to trade? They didn't invent anything. We invented everything. They had nothing. Nothing to trade. All they know how to do is steal. They are $31 trillion in debt because of war that they start. Why take anything from them besides their land? It's rightfully ours. People, the Trail of Tears never stopped. Yeah. And for all those who say, oh, well, you want reparations for 400 years of slavery. No, I don't want reparations for 400 years of slavery. I want reparations for the Trail of Tears that never stopped. Let's talk about Seneca Village. Seneca Village was established in 1825 in New York City, and it covered from 82nd to 89th Street in Manhattan, and over 300 residences were living there. 300. But what happened? What happened right before the Emancipation Proclamation, which they said happened in 1863? What happened? Well, in 1855, New York legislators, mayor, aldermen, and the New York Committee, being Jews, they were influenced by Jews, laid out a plan between 59th and 108th Street, 5th and 8th Avenue, and they was going to call it Central Park. And Central Park was established in 1857. That makes no sense. The Emancipation wasn't signed until 1863. But that makes absolutely no sense to me. That we were already free. You understand? Here, uh, Collegia. Collegia was established supposedly in 1855, and it was established right here in what is now Elmer, Alabama County. 3,000 acres of land, over 300 residences. They had their own cotton gin, they had their own sugar cane, they had their own lumber supply of pine, oak, and hickory. Uh, they had their own railroad system. They had a school for industrial building, in other words, a trade school. And it was attacked in the 1920s. And it was attacked by who? The KKK. A bunch of Jews. I don't care what anybody says. And it was covered up in 1960 when they flooded the entire area to make a dam, which is now Martin Lake, or Lake Martin, however you want to say it. Another one, Oscarville. Oscarville was established in 1814 in Georgia, home to over 100 native families. Listen, from 1860 to 1912, the KKK burnt down houses, schools, churches, forcing thousands of residents into integration. And again, they constructed a dam, and it's now called Lake Lemire. I don't want reparations for 400 years ago. I want reparations for 100 years ago. You heard all that land? 300 acres, 3,000 acres, 500 acres. You heard all that land? You heard all that prosperity that they say that we never had. You look back at all these movies that they used to show us in school. When they used to show us Rosewood, the Mississippi burning, they showed us living in shacks and huts. They don't never tell you about the prosperity that we had when we got away from them. It's like as soon as we got away from them, it was instant prosperity. It was so much prosperity and freedom that they used to come and move in and integrate with us. That's how much freedom it was. So, who is bringing up 400 years of slavery? I'm bringing up the Trail of Tears. I'm bringing up almost 200 years of destruction. We have everything on record. We have land on record. We have all our businesses on record. And they have been trying to cover it up with parks. They've been trying to cover it up with building the world, not the World Trade Center, the stock market building is literally built on top of a grave. It's built on top of a grave of our own people. We're talking about 200 to 300 years of destruction. It makes no sense. In 1863, he freed the slaves. It doesn't seem like that, does it? How can you free a people that was already free? All these civilizations that we had were established long before he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. The Gualaguichi Wars did not stop until 1858. And yet the war between the Sioux was still going on, and it ended in 1877. So someone explain to me, who did he free? If Seneca Village was established in the 1820s, 1830s, if we had our own civilization in Alabama, one of the most racist states in history, in 1830, 1840, if we had our own civilization in Georgia, who did he free? Who did he free? I'm waiting on somebody to tell me, who did he free? We had our own cities. Who did he free when we had our own businesses, hospitals? Who did he free? And now it gets even deeper of why the Ku Klux Klan was created. They've lied about an entire history. They've lied about 100 years. Nothing is what it seems, man. Nothing. And like I said, that's very suspicious, how everything is 100 years apart. The Trail of Tears, 1760. The Emancipation, 1860. And forced integration was in 1960. Everything is 100 years apart. Everything's 100 years apart. So I don't want reparations for 400 years of slavery. I want reparations for the whole 300 years of forced integration, the destruction, and the covering up of evidence. 3,000 acres, 500 acres, 300 acres to make lakes. The South is already filled with plenty of lakes. What were they trying to cover up? People go to vacation on a graveyard. Look, man. True reparations is segregation. We need our own government. And what is the body of government? We need our own army. We need our own legislation. And we need our own currency. And it's not like we won't have allies once we separate from them. We have the Caribbean islands. We have South America. We have Africa. Between the four of us, we control the world's food supply. If all of Europe is stealing food from Africa and all of Asia is buying food and medicine from South America, imagine what's going to happen when we get our land back and we start contributing to the food supply again. And yes, I said again. You understand? Ohio alone makes 5 times as much wheat as Ukraine ever will. Wheat grows so plentiful in Ohio that it sprouts up all over the place. Trust me, I know. I've been there. Like I said, I used to be a truck driver. So I know what it looks like in Ohio. There's a massive food supply in Ohio, and that's what they're trying to destroy. They sit here and say that man can't survive off bread alone. In war, we survived off bread plenty of times. We can do this, man. Reparations and segregation for my people and my nation. And that's the only way that we can survive, man. Because look at them. Now, at the end of their empire, they are showing you that they are led and controlled by a cult. They must tell the truth because it's over with now. They are being led and controlled by a cult. It is the Freemasons versus the Freemasons. And until you understand that, even if you don't understand that, man, don't accept the reparations and still be integrated with them. What's the point? You must take reparations and separate from them completely. Think about this. God gives you your own house. Why are you still living with the devil? They promote every carnal sin that was introduced to man. And God literally is giving you your own house to separate from the devil. Why are you still staying there? Because you don't want to follow God's rules? That makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you want to follow God's rules if you're going to prosper? Why wouldn't you want to follow God's rule if you're going to be given a wife and a family? Why wouldn't you want to follow God's rule if it means that you don't have to deal with hell anymore? The food is real. The water isn't poison. The air isn't poison. Why wouldn't you want to follow God's rule? But you would rather stay with the devil and continue to die. That makes no sense, man. But I pray for y'all, man. I really do. I pray for y'all. Because y'all really going to make that choice. Y'all really going to make that decision to stay right where you are and die. I'd rather be broke and favored in God than be rich with the devil and die a miserable death 1,000 times. I pray for y'all, man. It's been Fat Man Buddha. Reparations and segregation for my people and my nation. Because that's the only way we're going to survive this, man. And they've proven that. Peace.
So not only do you have to free the land and help to liberate the rest of the planet Earth for political power again, you'll have to do it so that all humanity can once again get back on its proper course. And we can live life as it's supposed to be lived. Become more godlike. The object of this knowledge is to be a reflection of yourself in the mirror of history. And when you look in that mirror, you will see God, because each one of us are in the image of the Creator, the Ancient of Days, with the lamb woolly hair and the color of amber. And as Jeremiah said, he looked like the pitch of oven. Each one of us are reflections. When we look in the mirror, we see God. God shining forth from us. And if you truly believe in the Creator, then you know that you cannot accept a life other than the highest and the best that you can get out of it.